A place that is so far away from everywhere that it doesn't exist on any map. This is the edge of the world. This is the most remote place in Western Australia, a place with no name, no roads, and no reception. You can camp under the stars and watch the sunset over the Indian Ocean on one side and look back at the vast desert stretching out behind you on the other. There are no fences, no houses, and no people for miles around. It feels like you've discovered a hidden world untouched by modern life. And yet this place exists only because of the ocean. When the sea level was lower thousands of years ago, this area was just an extension of the mainland. But as the ice caps melted and the oceans rose, the waters slowly covered the land until they were separated. Now, there is nothing but water between you and Antarctica, and I mean nothing. Not a single ship or plane flies over here. In fact, no human has ever set foot on these very islands until now. This is the largest of 3 small islands, and it's over 100 kilometers from the nearest bit of land. And even though it looks tiny from the air, it's actually quite big. In fact, there are over 600 different types of plants growing here, including some that you won't find anywhere else on Earth. The reason for this is pretty simple. Even though this island is incredibly remote, it's still part of the larger Indian Ocean ecosystem. So while animals can't get here, seeds and insects can travel on ocean currents and wind. Over time, they evolve into new species completely unique to this place. It's one of the reasons why this is such a special place. As far as we know, humans have never been here before. However, this hasn't stopped camels from getting here. In fact, there are dozens of them living on this island. But how did they get here? Well, if we go back in time 120 years, we will see the answer. Because in the early 1900s, Western Australia was in the middle of a massive gold rush. Thousands of miners flocked to the area in the hopes of striking it rich. And to help transport all their mining equipment, they brought in camels. But then something unexpected happened. Many of the miners didn't find any gold and they abandoned their camps. And with nobody to take care of them, the camels were set free. They quickly adapted to the harsh environment and began roaming the outback, and eventually some of them made their way to this island. That's right. These camels are feral, meaning that they're wild and have never been domesticated. But although they may look calm, just like the ones you see on a farm, they are just as wild as lions and just as dangerous. In fact, each year, camels cause millions of dollars worth of damage by destroying crops and fences. And in recent years, authorities have been trying to capture them and relocate them to another island. But it hasn't been easy because these camels roam all across the outback, traveling huge distances every year. And they don't make it easy for the people trying to catch them. They can run up to 65 kilometers per hour and jump over 3 meters high. But there is one thing that scares them even more than humans. Dingoes. Dingoes are wild dogs that also made their way to Australia many years ago, when humans brought them over as pets and then abandoned them. Since then, they've become one of the most feared predators in Australia, attacking livestock and even humans. Their strength should not be underestimated. They can take down prey twice their size and carry it away without even getting close to its carcass. But they do have one weakness. While they are great hunters, they are terrible swimmers. In fact, they prefer to stay at least 5 kilometers from the coast. It makes sense since there are so many things to eat inland. But for us, it makes exploring the coast much easier because we don't need to worry about being attacked by a pack of feral dogs. And speaking of packs, let's go see a real pack of wild animals. Just behind me are hundreds of seals basking in the sun. And although they look cute and friendly, I wouldn't want to swim with these guys. They're actually one of the most aggressive animals on the planet. If you approach them on land, they'll bite your hand off. And if you try to swim with them in the ocean, they'll drag you underwater and drown you. These guys are actually so powerful that they can pull a full-grown human underwater without even trying. But why? Well, it's all about protecting their food. Seals eat almost exclusively on land, which means they need to protect their meal from being stolen. And there is no better way to do that than to simply bite the hand off anyone who gets too close. These guys are truly the definition of vicious but adorable. However, there is one animal that's even more fierce. If you look closely at the rocks, you might be able to spot it. It's camouflaged perfectly, but it's there. And if you walk past, it will surprise attack you. Its beak is sharp enough to crack open a turtle shell, and its eyes are so powerful that they can detect movement from half a kilometer away. It can dive deep into the ocean and chase down fish. And it can even take flight and soar through the sky. It's one of the few birds that can do this, but it needs a running start. That's why you always see them running along the beach before they take off. Once they gain enough speed, they simply spread their wings and glide effortlessly above the waves. They don't need to flap their wings once they're in the air, and they can fly for hours without getting tired. As soon as the sun goes down, the temperature drops dramatically. And if you want to survive the night, you need to find somewhere to hide from the elements. Luckily, I found a cave with a roof covered in thick bush. It will keep us out of the wind and rain, and there are even some logs inside to keep us warm. I'm going to make a fire and cook up some dinner while Tom sets up our home for the night. He has been using his knife to cut down sticks for a long time, and he finally got a good one. It looks like he's about to do something crazy. But what? Well, he found the perfect stick and he's going to use it to play the Aboriginal game of spear throwing. This is a very old game that has been played by Aboriginal people for tens of thousands of years. All you need is a sturdy stick and some skill, but don't think it's easy. After 10 minutes of trying, I still haven't managed to throw my spear straight. But Tom is a natural and he hits the target perfectly. And you know what? It turns out that this game is not only fun, it's also a great workout. After a night of camping in a cave, I feel refreshed and ready for another day of exploring. We're gonna head over to the highest point on the island and check out the view. It's a bit pebbly, but it's also a great place to relax and watch the waves crash below. As I look out over the ocean, I realize that this is what it must have been like for the first explorers to discover Australia. They would have seen nothing but endless waves and sandy beaches, not knowing what lay inland. But they were brave and adventurous, and they followed the coast until they found what they were looking for. And maybe that's what makes this place so special. It's a reminder that there is still so much to explore and discover in our world, even if it's right in front of us.